They called her Spoon Queen behind her back, sometimes to her face when they were feeling brave or cruel or bored enough to forget rank existed for a reason. She heard it all the same. The mess hall echoed, metal trays clanging, boots scraping concrete, voices layered with laughter and complaints about overcooked rice or bland stew. She stood behind the counter in her faded apron, hair tucked into a regulation net, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with quiet strength. Corporal Ashaw Khan ladled lentils like it was the most important duty on the base, because to her, it was. She had learned early that kitchens were loud places even when no one was shouting. Oil hissed, pots rattled, knives knocked against cutting boards. It reminded her of her childhood home where noise meant life, meant survival. But here, on forward operating base Jabal, the noise came with mockery. "Hey, cook," one of the younger infantrymen said one afternoon, leaning across the counter with a grin that smelled like cheap cigarettes. "You ever get tired of hiding back here while we do the real work?" Aisha met his eyes calmly. "You ever get tired of eating?" she asked, and a few soldiers nearby snorted. The young man flushed and grabbed his tray, retreating. Small victories were still victories. She had once done the real work. They didn't know that, or maybe some did and chose to forget. Before the burn scars, before the reassignment, before the rumors shrank her entire career into the word cook, she had been a riflewoman in the mountain unit. She had patrolled rocky passes, slept with her weapon cradled against her chest, learned to read the wind and the silence before an ambush. She had earned her marksman badge the hard way, on a range carved out of stone where mistakes echoed forever. Then came the convoy explosion 2 years earlier. A roadside bomb, a wall of heat, screaming metal. She remembered waking up in a field hospital with her hands wrapped like gifts she didn't want, her face tight and burning. The doctors said she was lucky, she was alive. She could still use her hands. But command saw a different kind of luck, the chance to move her somewhere safe, somewhere her scars wouldn't distract from morale, somewhere she wouldn't slow anyone down. So she cooked. She learned recipes from old manuals and from memory, adjusting spices with an instinct that surprised even her. She learned how to stretch supplies, how to feed 100 soldiers with food meant for 80. She learned that hunger made people mean and that full bellies sometimes softened them, at least for a while. Still, the jokes never fully stopped. At night, when the base quieted and the mountains pressed close like listening giants, Aisha sometimes went to the small gym and lifted until her muscles trembled. Other nights, she cleaned her old service rifle, the one she had kept after enough paperwork and stubborn silence. She wasn't assigned to carry it anymore, but it lived in her locker like a promise. The breach happened just before dawn, when the air was cold enough to sting and the sky was a pale, uncertain gray. The first explosion rattled the mess hall windows, sending a tray skidding across the floor. Aisha was already there, prepping breakfast, humming softly to herself. The hum died in her throat as the alarm wailed, a sound that cut through bone and thought. Another explosion followed, closer this time, dust rained from the ceiling. Shouts erupted outside, overlapping and sharp. Attack, perimeter breach. Training snapped into place like armor. Aisha dropped the ladle, hands already moving. She ducked behind the counter as something shattered against the far wall. The mess hall lights flickered, then steadied. Somewhere, a siren screamed. She didn't wait for orders that might never come. She ran. The locker room was chaos. Half-dressed soldiers scrambling into gear, faces pale in the harsh fluorescent light. Someone knocked into her, muttering an apology he didn't finish. She reached her locker, yanked it open, and pulled out the rifle. The weight settled into her hands like an old friend. Outside, the base was no longer a place of routine. Smoke curled from the outer wall, where a section had collapsed inward. Muzzle flashes sparked in the dim light. The crack of gunfire echoed off the mountains, turning the world into noise and movement. Aisha took cover behind a concrete barrier near the supply shed. She could see figures moving beyond the breach, dark shapes against darker stone. Insurgents, more than a handful, using the early hour and the thin manning to their advantage. She breathed out, slow and steady, and sighted down the rifle. The first shot dropped a man who had been sprinting toward the communications tower. He fell hard, momentum carrying him forward into the dirt. Aisha shifted, fired again. Another figure stumbled, then disappeared behind a cloud of dust. "Who the hell is?" someone shouted nearby. She didn't look away from her sight. "Focus fire on the breach," she called, her voice cutting through the chaos with command she hadn't lost. "They're trying to flank left." A small group of soldiers rallied near her, instinctively following the direction in her voice. They returned fire, bullets sparking against stone. One of them glanced at her, recognition dawning mid-battle. "Khan, the cook?" She fired again. "If you want breakfast tomorrow, shoot." He blinked, then laughed once, sharp and disbelieving, before turning back to the fight. The attackers pressed hard, desperate. A rocket slammed into a storage container, sending a fireball skyward. Heat washed over them. Aisha felt it lick her scars, but she didn't flinch. Pain was old news. She moved when she needed to, low and fast, covering others as they repositioned. At one point, a young private froze in the open, eyes wide, pinned down by fire. Without thinking, Aisha broke cover, firing as she ran. She grabbed the private by the collar and dragged him behind a wall, hard hammering. "Breathe," she told him, gripping his shoulder until his gaze steadied. "You're alive." "Stay that way." He nodded, shaking, and scrambled to reload. Minutes stretched and collapsed in on themselves. The sky brightened. Reinforcements from the far side of the base arrived, vehicles roaring, heavy weapons barking. The attackers began to falter, then retreat, dragging their wounded, leaving others behind. When the last shot faded, silence crashed down just as hard. Smoke hung in the air, thick and bitter. Someone cheered weakly. Someone else sat down hard on the ground, helmet rolling away. Aisha lowered her rifle. Her hands were steady. Later, medics moved through the base, checking wounds. Engineers assessed the damage. Command gathered everyone who could stand. Faces were smudged with dirt and sweat, eyes red-rimmed but bright with adrenaline. The base commander, a tall man with a voice like gravel, looked at Aisha for a long moment before speaking. "Corporal Khan," he said. "Step forward." She did. Rifle slung, posture straight. "Today," he continued, loud enough for all to hear, "this base held because every soldier did their duty. Some did more than what was asked." He paused. "We had a significant gap in our defense near the mess hall and supply area." Corporal Khan identified it, engaged the enemy, and coordinated fire under pressure. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "She is assigned as a cook," the commander said. "But she is also a trained riflewoman, and she proved that today." He nodded once to her. It wasn't a medal. It wasn't an apology. But it was something. In the days that followed, repairs were made. New barriers rose where old ones had fallen. The rhythm of the base returned, altered but intact. So did the jokes, softer now, edged with something like respect. "Hey, Spoon Queen," someone said one afternoon, then cleared his throat. Ma'am, that stew's good." Aisha smiled faintly as she handed him his tray. "Eat," she said. "You'll need the strength." At night, she still lifted weights. She still cleaned her rifle. But now, when she walked across the base, fewer eyes slid past her. Some met hers and nodded. She was still the cook. She always would be. She fed them, kept them standing, and if the walls ever fell again, she would be ready.